Hey everyone, my name's Kyle, the founder and CEO of Oxwash. I started the company 5 years ago, and we're going to give you a bit of a lift under the hood as to the forgotten industry. Over to you, Sia.
Hello, everyone. I'm the sustainability manager at Oxwash, and I'll start with talking about some gruesome facts hidden behind the laundry's footprint. So, laundry is an industry that we notice is often hidden behind the scenes. So, for example, when you go to a hotel or when you rent a dress, you don't really know how it was washed or how the linen was washed. So, it's something that often is not really proclaimed. Because of that, we often don't really know what is the actual impact of washing our clothes, especially in a commercial setting. The topic that probably today we're all discussing the most is energy and emissions. So, the amount of emissions that are produced in the laundry industry annually in UK are up to 150,000 tons, which is, to give you a bit of perspective, like half of what the textile manufacturing is attributed to in UK as well. So it's a really big number. And this number, again, is just an estimation. So we don't actually know the real impact of that. And the problem with this high amount of energy wasted is not just that the washing happens with really high temperatures. So, for example, when you wash your clothes at home, you most likely use 20, 30, 40 degrees, sometimes 60 if it's your sportswear. Whereas in a commercial setting, you often go up to 80% water heating, 100% water heating. But then when you dry the clothes, that's even higher temperatures. So up to 165, 180. All of that temperature and heating is impossible to do just based on electricity, which means that most commercial laundries in UK burn an incredible amount of gas, natural gas, LPG, and 70% of the energy is just wasted through the tumble dryers and the iron rollers to get our clothes dry and looking nice. The energy and emissions is not the only impact that is happening in the laundry industry. When you wash at home, we were just discussing this, like most of us probably look at the stains that we have on the clothes and then we pre-spot the stain because it's just easier, like then it's going to get washed out and you have your clothes to wear for longer. In a commercial setting of a laundry, often the pre-staining doesn't really even happen because it's just easier to chuck it all into the big machines, wash it over, and then hope it goes out. To make sure that it goes out, usually laundries use quite harsh chemicals. It can be bleach, it can be other chemicals that contain materials that are harmful to aquatic life. And a lot of commercial laundries use dry chemicals. So that's the chemicals that are used in your dry cleaning next to your house if you ever use one for your suit or coat. And how it works, from the name, there's no water involved, which is great in terms of water impact, but the chemistry itself, it's quite toxic. And the chemical that is 85% of the dry cleaning chemicals in UK. It's found to cause cancer. It is associated with miscarriages, with kidney failures, and the people that are at risk directly are the workers in the commercial laundries. And a lot of commercial laundries do use dry chemistry to clean their items. When you don't use the dry chemistry, you use a lot of water. And the problem with water, again, is not just that you use a lot of it, but then that it goes into the effluent. So when it goes into the effluent, all the bleach, all of the microfibers that are released during the washes go into that effluent together with the water, and then they end up in the oceans. So we know, for example, that 35% of the microplastics found in the oceans are attributed to the textile industry. So that's part of the washing process as well. And then we know some really gross examples of the commercial laundry industry where when you put in an item not pre-stained, wash it 2 times, and then it doesn't get cleaned, you just throw it out because, like it's just more expensive to try to save it again and again. So then that causes the problem that a lot of waste is created, contributed to the commercial laundries as well. I've started on a bit of a negative note with all the impacts of kind of what's going wrong, but there are solutions that can be made. So I'll give the floor to Kyle to talk about that.
Thank you very much. So I think we can all agree that's fucking terrifying, and no one really pays attention to it, which is a real shame. So Oxwash was founded with the explicit mission of showing that technology, innovation, and process can eliminate that outrageous amount of impact on the planet and its people. We've adopted a process of engineering, iteratively inspired by my time working at NASA and SpaceX as a life support systems engineer. When you take people to space, you have to fully account for the water that you drink, the air that you breathe, the energy that keeps you warm, that keeps you alive. And we've applied that same technology in many cases and the systems process approach to deploying our own facilities for cleaning that we call lagoons that allow us to clean textiles without any impact whatsoever. Now, that's multifaceted. There's no one silver bullet that means, oh, hey, look, we've invented this new chemical. It does everything. Happy days. It even randomly transports the textiles for you without emissions. So we've systematically introduced various different parts and innovations to our process that allow us to eliminate impact. Here are a few of them. One, which Sia mentioned, tackles the massive amounts of energy for heating water to get clothes and textiles clean. We use ozone supersaturation, which is a gas that we generate from the oxygen that we breathe, introduce it into our washing machines that then oxidizes all bacteria, fungi, and also most recently COVID virion particles and things like that. It also deodorizes. So for circular fashion items of rental dresses and things, it means that you don't end up smelling like the last person that wore the item that you're wearing. We use biogas for the small amount of kind of natural gas formulation that we currently need to use for drying, but are currently also about to innovate and release an acoustic drying solution to the final point of energy consumption in our process that we haven't divorced from gas. So we're moving away from the use of heat to evaporate water to one where we use ultrasound to atomize water out of fabrics in its liquid form and then blow that liquid away as a cold mist. It's 82% more energy efficient and 65% faster than using a tumble dryer. There's also a lot of other obvious things that we apply to our process, like renewable generation, circular packaging for the chemistry that we use from our providers, and all of the textiles that we transport across the UK are done so using EVs, either vans or electric cargo bikes, like the one you saw on the first slide. We also partner with some absolutely phenomenal collaborators, some of which are in the audience today. We work with them to recycle the water that we do use. In our newest facility in Swindon, we're closing the loop entirely, so we'll be able to use rainwater capture and water reclamation to eliminate the use of water from our reservoirs in the UK. We partner with companies such as Ideal Manufacturing, Vanish Reckitt, for example, Christains, and lots of others, Electrolux as well, to develop destainers, biodegradable green surfactant detergents that allow us to clean without perc, without toxic side effects, and without the massive impact on our sewage treatment plants that current processes use. And as we've mentioned, we filter the microfibers that come off our clothes as we wash. This t-shirt is made from polyester. That's a plastic. When we wash it, it leaches small microscopic fibers of plastic using collaborators like Cleaner Seas. Raise your hand, team, for those in the room. Great filters. Thank you so much for those. So that's really important. As I mentioned, we really like to double down into where technology makes the biggest difference. So we've been able to, thank you very much, to categorize where in our process we're most energy inefficient rather, and we're hoping to one day take the technology that we're developing from our own use, such as our acoustic air knife drying technology, and then license that to partners such as LG, who we're currently talking about, to bring this technology into the home. So you no longer have to use a tumble dryer that takes an hour and a half to dry your clothes, but an acoustic dryer powered by Oxwash technology that takes 15 minutes. So hopefully the Oxwash technology will end up in many people's homes around the globe in the future. Later this year, we'll be deploying some technology that allows us to automate the entire process end-to-end using machine learning and AI technology. We're already iterating stain identification and treatment. This is a really big problem that at the moment we have to judge with human cognition, and it introduces human error. If we get some, let's say, bed sheets from an Airbnb that have a stain on it, it's difficult to discern whether that's red wine, bodily fluid, and all sorts of other different types of makeup. an AI algorithm that we've trained is much better at doing that and much faster as well. So we're hoping to release that in our new facility later this year. And again, speed up the process, reduce the stains up front that mean that we keep the items alive through our process and don't end up having to buy new ones.
Yes, so to sum it up, again, bringing it back to today's conversations around energy and emissions as well, we already, through all of those different things that Kyle mentioned, reducing kind of our energy use, we are managing to produce less emissions per kilogram washed. That is for scope 1 and 2, because that's where we can have a clear benchmark to compare it to the industry. But we do see that we are using less energy and emitting less than the other industry averages and LCAs around there. We also use very durable carbon removal methods, which is more expensive but much more useful for our Earth. So IPCC endorsed methods such as biochar, such as enhanced weathering, and such as direct air capture, together with our partners at Supercritical. And ultimately, like the big ambition and our big goal, North Star, is to decarbonize laundry completely. That is on track together with our suppliers, with our partners, with our collaborators to achieve that by 2028. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Can raise their hand if you have any questions, but you did deliver a very precise and comprehensive presentation. Very holistic solution, very impressive, very looking forward to see the AI part coming into play. One curiosity maybe, I just read on your website that you are transitioning towards exclusively focused B2B market. Can I just ask out of curiosity why and you made this decision?
Yeah, of course. So the company was founded as a direct-to-consumer student service in Oxford, hence the name Oxwash, which was a placeholder that never got replaced, but rapidly transitioned into serving commercial clients such as hotels, Airbnbs, research institutions, cafes, restaurants, bars, gyms, those kind of things. Over the last couple of years, since COVID, we've seen a massive increase in the amount of demand from commercial clients that really value our process and the ability for us to demonstrate the decarbonisation of laundry for their supply chain, whether that's a hospital that's been told by the NHS you need to remove emissions by 30%, or Expedia tell a hotel if you don't, you're going to get deranked off search results. We then can come in and fill the gap. So we're leaning into that tailwind of adoption and market fit. The other reason is that for every kilogram of washing that we do for a commercial client versus a domestic client, it's about 11 times more impactful for us to do that washing for a commercial client, because these plants that do this industrially at present use such gregarious amounts of natural gas, inefficient process, bleach, things like that, where a consumer at home can wash cold using renewable electricity and obviously choose some biodegradable chemistry such as Ecova as well.
Very good. Thank you for the explanation. Does anyone have any questions? There you go.
That blade technology you're talking about licensing, how would that work? Is it a machine that you put it into and then it kind of dries it like that, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so the acoustic dryer has two formats at the moment. The first is for items that are flat and two-dimensional, most of all. So bed sheets, pillowcases, even some T-shirts, scrubs, things like that. The items go over a conveyor that then rolls over an array of transducers. So it's the part of a speaker without the cone. That vibrates at just the right frequency to atomize water out the top of the fabric that the blade then blows away. So that's really easy for two-dimensional, essentially thin items. For more complex items like a suit jacket, a dress, a lab coat, things like that, the items go through a tunnel sideways, shoulder to shoulder, and then the air blades dry it up and down, as you suggested. That technology is a lot harder and will take several years to come to market. But for the hospitality industry, for bedding, towels, table linen, scrubs in hospitals, that will be this year.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for the presentation.
Pleasure. Thank you very much, everyone.